Welcome everyone to Overreaction or Not. Okay, our first overreaction or not, Zach will be determining. I already have my answer, but he's going to determine. I'll say what I think. A-Rob is in for another bust year.
Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong. I just think it's too early to tell.
So it's an overreaction at this point.
I'm gonna say
You got to pick overreaction or not.
Yes. Are we talking fantasy or are we saying real life football?
Both.
I
feel like you could.
I'm gonna go with overreaction.
It's hard to be a fantasy bust and not be a football bust.
That's not true. Because your impact could be more than just statistical.
Okay, but so you said not a bust?
So I'll say that's an overreaction for now.
For now, yes. Okay, next we have the Cowboys are done for this year.
Yeah, I think that's not an overreaction. Just because I think Dak's going to be gone for so long.
Oh, wait, I didn't say what I thought about the first one. I thought it was an overreaction, the first one.
Okay. I think depending on how they do without Dak, can I look at their schedule?
I mean, I'm going to jump to the next one, but
because I just want to see.
I think it's not an overreaction. I think they're in rough shape. Even with Dak, they didn't look good. So
they played the Tampa Bay.
But Dak looked terrible. People were open and he looked terrible.
I just want to see if they can tread water without Dak. Then I think when Dak comes back, and I think it's more than just Dak. Their O-line,
the whole team just looked bad.
Their O-line was injured too. Okay, so they have Cincinnati. That's probably an L.
Dude, the worst part is those are all good teams in the beginning. They won't have Dak.
Giants
are bad.
I mean, they're okay. The Giants.
I think they can lose. I think they're going to lose that game.
Dallas will lose.
Dallas will lose to the Giants.
Yeah.
Commanders, I think they could win. The Rams, they're going to lose. The Eagles, they're going to lose.
Probably. Detroit, I
think the Lions are going to win.
Yeah, they should beat the Bears.
Packers, they lose. Vikings, they lose. Giants, they lose.
If Dak is back by then,
I don't think they'll beat either of those teams.
Dude, but I will say, you know who did look really good for Dallas?
Micah Parsons.
Yes, he looked very good.
Okay, so are we saying it's a reaction or not?
No.
It's not. Okay, I think it's not as well. Next, we have the A. So I tried to make sure I had something for each division. I said the AFC South is very, very bad.
I feel like that's kind of just been known.
It was known they're bad, but you'd never expect the division to not win a single game when you're playing yourself.
I mean, they tied.
That's awful. How does that happen? I say that's not a reaction. They're easily the worst division. I don't think anyone thought they could be this bad, but they're this bad.
I feel like the tie is not that big of a deal. I don't think they're top to bottom. I don't think that's a hot take to say.
The tie was a big deal because of who tied. If it was Texans, Jags, it's whatever. Titans, Colts, it's whatever. But the Colts should not be tying.
Every year there's a bad team that ties with a good team, and I was forgetting what I was gonna say. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say, it's not really a hot take to say that the AFC South is the worst division top to bottom.
So not a hot take, not overreaction.
Even preseason, we could have said that.
Okay, next up we have the Packers are in trouble.
Overreaction.
Is that a reaction?
Yeah. It's week one.
They had the same thing happen last year. They started off really bad, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Played much better. But last year they had a lot more. They still had Devontae. This year, they don't have that guy.
I mean, look.
They didn't have Lazard playing. That mattered.
No Lazard. And, look, A.J. Dillon looked good.
Tanyan was just getting back from an injury first game. So, I mean, he didn't do as much as he probably could coming up.
And I think the Vikings are just a good team.
Yeah.
So,
but I expected more of a fight out of the Packers.
I mean, Christian Watson also dropped a touchdown.
That's true.
So,
okay, next.
Yeah, so what are you saying?
I say it's an overreaction.
Okay.
For now,
yeah.
And then if we're say we're in week 4 and they're still looking stinky.
I mean, if they're 0-4, but look,
even if they were 1-3 or 2-2,
there's 17 games. It's way too early.
Okay, next 4 they're all very close to our hearts.
Okay,
these are fantasy takes.
Okay,
CMC owners should be worried about how that game went.
Overreaction,
despite the fact technically they were trailing for a bit, and he wasn't getting the receptions he normally does.
Look, I'll say. No, his volume as a whole was down, especially in the first half. But in the second half, they started giving him the ball more, and he was pretty efficient. I feel like they're going to start getting him the ball more. Obviously, I don't know because I'm not a Panthers Like I'm not a coach on
The targets
Panthers.
were very worrisome
So
to me.
what I will say though is I think that is his floor. Like I think last week what we saw, that's like the floor. I don't think he could be worse than that. So
I don't know. The Browns defense is decent, but it's not like crazy.
I'm talking about usage.
Oh,
I'm talking
yes,
about
yes.
because his snap share was good. He was in
it's
on
just
like over 80% of the
I would
snaps.
say that. So you say it's an overreaction.
Yes.
I would say I'm a little in the middle there. Like I'm a little
It's either
panicky.
you said it's either overreaction or it's
I'm gonna pick a side, but I'm a little panicky about the targets. That's the big thing for me.
I mean, it's week 1.
Yeah, I agree.
First game with Baker, even though because CMC didn't play in the preseason at all.
Yeah. I'll say it's.
I'm not worried about CMC.
I said CMC owners should be worried. I'm gonna say it's not an overreaction. I would say it's not an overreaction at all. I think
CMC owner in 2 leagues, not worried at all.
Okay.
Because he's very efficient. He doesn't even need that many touches to be good. So.
Next up we have so these are all our running backs. Let me say this now.
Okay.
Henry owners should be a little worried.
Overreaction.
So are you probably gonna say an overreaction to all of these?
Yep.
But I think as a Henry owner, I am a little worried what they played the Giants. Their defensive line isn't like a crazy defensive line. He was not doing great. His usage was down as a whole. I mean, he's definitely not going to be what he was even last year, like before he got injured.
Well, last year was like his best, was like the best football.
He was on pace for
that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
I'm a little worried.
I wouldn't be worried about Derrick Henry. I think he's very talented, and I don't think like I said for CMC, I think that's probably his floor too. Like I don't think it can get worse, and he didn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, and they lost.
I'll say the one that I think that you could. I don't know if because you're gonna appreciate all of them. I said Zeke. You should be worried about Zeke a little bit. I'm gonna say now I don't think that's an overreaction. I didn't like the usage, even though he was playing well. Without Dak, it's a terrible situation. I know you said this.
I'll say not an overreaction solely because of Dak's injury. I will say I really liked because I was watching the game. Obviously, I thought Zeke played very well. He
played well, but he just couldn't. They didn't use him enough.
I thought Ezekiel Elliott was by far the best player on that offense. Like for me, it wasn't close. What I will so that's the one encouraging thing for me. The problem is no Dak, and will he get the touches? I mean, obviously, I think he'll get more touches than Pollard, but it's just how much more. So for that reason, I'll say slightly worried, especially because I think the offense is going to take a step back as a whole. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be part of his value is scoring touchdowns, and will they be scoring touchdowns without Dak? Will the offense be moving? So that's I will say I'm slightly worried about that.
And next up, we have Kamara owners should be a little worried.
Overreaction.
Yeah, I agree with that one fully. I think that is an overreaction. I think it's just he had a little rough of game.
It's an off.
Yeah, it happens. Next up, we have. Actually, I have to do something real quick. So Zach, talk to the camera real quick.
Babbling Bozo's podcast is made.
Stop making me anything. Stop saying that.
Well, what do you want me to talk about?
Tell them about your day.
Well, I had my day was pretty solid. I mean, I only had one class, 9 a.m. anatomy and physiology. Then I came home. I ate something. Then I went to the gym. And then I
now please stop talking.
Ate some lunch.
Next up, we have the Ravens are clear north favorites.
And then I came here to do the podcast. So yeah, it's a pretty solid
favorites.
day.
What do you think?
Tomorrow is going to be a good day too, I think.
Ravens are clear north favorites. What do you think?
Every day is a good day when you're alive.
Ravens are clear north favorites. What do you think?
Overreaction. Clear favorites, overreaction.
Ravens are favorites. How about that?
Overreaction still.
Okay. Yeah. I would say it's an overreaction as well. I think the Bengals.
It's one.
I think Bengals 1A, Ravens 1B. They're just that close.
The thing for me is also we played the Jets. So
yeah. I'm just saying based on the rosters. I think they're both.
I think the Ravens will win the division. I mean, biased.
Okay, next take. You've already said this. Agreed. Basically, Bills are Super Bowl favorites.
Favorites.
Favorites for the Super Bowl to win it.
Overreaction. Favorites to win it?
Yes.
Yeah, overreaction.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you're the only person to say that. Like they are technically the odds-on favorite.
Well,
for the
like
Super
I guess
Bowl.
if you're saying, well, are you saying them versus the field, or you just mean the highest percentage chance?
Well, I mean, isn't an odds-on favorite like betting saying them versus the field?
Well,
so yes.
I think if you had to break it down, no. See, the thing is, it's like them versus the field means you think there's a 51% chance they win. My point is, if you're saying them versus any individual team, yeah, they have the best percentage chance. But if you're saying would I pick them or the rest of the field, I would pick the rest of the field.
Okay, I'm gonna try to move through these a little faster because I don't want to take this video too long. Commanders / Giants, one of these two will finish second in the East.
No, not an overreaction.
I think pick one. If you had to pick one right now, who's finishing second? I don't think it's an overreaction either.
Giants.
I think the Giants finish second as well. Kickers need to go. I saw this movement on Twitter. It was so funny. Everyone thinks kicking is just like, it's like these weird people come out the cracks when kickers have that weird week where they're like, kicking is not part of, it's like a dysfunctional part of football that changes like the.
Hey, look, man, if they get rid of kickers, they got to change the name of the sport.
Yeah, it's like what is wrong with you people that don't want kickers?
I'll say overreaction.
It's a terrible
maybe
movement.
It's just because we have Justin Tucker. Like, put yourself in the shoes of
we didn't have Justin Tucker before. I had Billy Cundiff. Billy Cundiff ruined the day for me. And I still want kickers.
Hey, I will say though, the Ravens have been blessed with kickers and special teams.
That's a product of our coach, who's a special teams guy.
I get it, but I'm saying like even though Cundiff missed that kick, he was overall his tenure with the Ravens, he was a solid kicker. And
then when he sucked, we knew when to get rid of him. We moved on.
I mean, Justin Tucker was a great replacement. And then we also had Matt Stover, who was a great kicker too. So we met him actually.
We have next up is kind of a joke one. Kyler needs his studying clause back.
Not an overreaction. Not an overreaction.
His record all time after double XP weekend moved to 0-23-1.
After what?
Double XP weekend. He's 0-23-1 after a double XP weekend.
That's actually hilarious, dude. Kyler, come on, dude.
Get off the video games.
Put the controller down, man.
You make millions.
Watch some film, bro. Save your COD for the off season.
Next up, we have the Falcons are cursed.
I don't think they're cursed. I think
they're the choke artists of the league.
Yeah,
it's because they were up like 26-10.
Yeah. No, I think they were.
It's impressive how much they
what's funny though. They were on track to win that game. They were driving, and then Mariota has an inopportune fumble. And it's funny though because me and Trey were on the mic watching Red Zone, and I was like, dude, we were both talking about how we like Mariota. Literally seconds later, he fumbles, and then that was the spark the Saints needed. But I honestly think the Falcons are going to be a tough team to play this year. Like, obviously, I don't think they're going to be like above 500, but they're not going to be easy wins.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have MT's back, Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I know. I'll say not an overreaction.
You think he's back?
I mean,
2 touchdowns, right?
He's back. Like, he is back.
You know what that means.
I actually don't know what his stat line looked like, to be honest. I know he had 2 touchdowns, but I'm talking about yards.
I think he was kind of mid yard wise. While you look at that, I'll say my last one, which you already agreed. Basically, Chiefs are just as good without Tyreek.
Just as good?
Yes. They didn't take a step back. Basically, the Chiefs did not take a step back losing Tyreek.
I'm going to say not an overreaction just because I don't think they're worse. Okay. So, yeah. But yeah, Michael Thomas had 5 catches for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Although I think Jarvis and Olave also got some.
Jarvis got way more touches.
Yeah, I think Jarvis had like 7.
He led the team in touches. Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard to say, but hey, Michael Thomas in the red zone, shoot. For fantasy, he back for sure.
Do we have any other topics?
I mean, aside from your game, no.
Cool. Well.
Is that going to be a separate?
That'll be separate. So I hope you all enjoyed this week's podcast. This will be on Spotify for anyone who wants to watch or listen, sorry. And every other segment will be its own YouTube video. So, peace.